Hello from the Kettleland Storm Center. I'm meteorologist Scott Munt. It's Monday, December 30th, 8:12 in the morning. This is what's going on with our weather. I do want to start with a model here showing us where we can get the potential for ice. And we already have a couple of reports coming back with the ice this morning coming in near Hoven, also near Polo. We're going into Edmonds and Hand County. And you can see that this will probably, there's Hoven right there, you can see that this will probably continue as temperatures are near freezing in parts of north central, extending into northeastern South Dakota. So that's an area already reporting some ice for this morning. We'll watch and see where that goes. Otherwise, let's go ahead and have a recap of what's going on this morning. And again, this is what's happening at 8:13 with our current temperatures. Nice to see these numbers sneaking above freezing in and around Sioux Falls, but still at freezing in Aberdeen, 30 in Watertown, 28 in Brookings. And I think the freezing drizzle, freezing rain for this morning will be found across northeastern South Dakota as temperatures are hovering 32 degrees. And we have snow in western South Dakota this morning. You see Rapid City, temperature at 34 with snow. Snow started last night across the hills. It's transitioned down in and around the Rapid City area, where we have a strong north wind. Rapid City north wind coming in at 23 miles per hour, occasionally with the higher gust, as we do have a couple of these wind gusts in western and southwestern South Dakota in the low to middle 30s. Right now, the wind chill map, it's just a placeholder, but I think the wind chill map will get a lot of use as we go through this week, going into the weekend, and for next week, because there is a lot of cold air that's on the way. We'll try to touch on that coming up later. But first and foremost, what's going on today with this wintry mix? You can see western, central, eastern, southeastern Kettleland getting hit pretty good with the rain, snow, freezing drizzle, freezing rain. Now, a lot of this will eventually switch on over to snow in eastern and southeastern Kettleland. I think for a majority of the day we'll have rain. I know here at 2 o'clock it's still trying to show like these pockets of snow and maybe this mixture that you see across southeastern South Dakota. I think that should be all green, probably falling in the form of plain rain showers in southeastern Kettleland. It will be a different story in northeastern South Dakota, able to switch over the snow, as well as central and south central Kettleland, and even into western South Dakota. Not agreeing with the model here. I think a lot of that will probably fall in the form of snow in western Kettleland. We'll probably start to see that switch over to snow in southeastern Kettleland, I would say around sunset or after. Then we'll see all this being snow eastern, southeastern South Dakota, lasting through the evening hours, and then tapering off as we do go into the overnight. Now, in the meantime, we continue with winter storm warnings for the Black Hills. Northern Black Hills, 6 to 12 inches will be a total of what fell last night extending into today. And then surrounding that area, we'll go with 3 to 8. Now, that does not include Rapid City. We do have a separate graphic to show you snowfall amounts in our forecast for Rapid City. We'll get to that one after this graphic, because the winter weather advisories do extend into central, north central parts of east central South Dakota. You see Huron's in it, Aberdeen is not, and also into southeastern South Dakota. This is because of that wintry mix and that ice glaze that can occur too. Keep in mind, we'll eventually start to see stronger northerly winds into these areas, I think, as we do go through the day. Now to our snowfall forecast. You can see the 2 to 4 inches is what we have in the forecast for Rapid City at 2 to 4. Of course, those higher amounts here into the hills. Right now, we're thinking around 4 to 8 for Spearfish. And then still with this good average of 1 to 3. In fact, we do have that for Pierre and Chamberlain, Mitchell, maybe sneaking into Huron, a good average of 1 to 3 inches of snowfall there. And then a trace the 2, Sioux Falls, Madison. Again, this switch over here in the southeastern South Dakota, that will happen probably around sunset or after sunset is when we can see that switch over. I'll highlight a couple of more areas. You can see maybe a bullseye, some heavier snows here into south central South Dakota, including winter. And then finally into northeastern Kettleland. I think they'll miss a lot of the snow, but enough to give you around a trace to maybe an inch. But keep in mind, that is now falling in the form of rain and freezing rain. So that is what's going on for this morning. Just pay attention to the changing weather conditions. Of course, where we do have temperatures near freezing, northeastern Kettleland, especially Miller, Redfield area, probably experiencing some freezing drizzle, freezing rain during the onset of this. And this is not a snowfall forecast for tomorrow. This is for today. I'll just highlight that again. That is for today's snowfall, not for tomorrow. That's just part of the marquee that I did not change as I put this together yesterday. So again, that should say today and not tomorrow. So that's what's going on for today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the long range forecast, because I do want to show you a couple of things of what's going on here with our models. First, with the European model, okay, we'll watch the system go through. Temperatures will cool, I think, as we do go through this week. Here's an area of low pressure that does develop into Oklahoma. So that's an area that we will have to watch. With it, we'll try to bring in some moisture from the Gulf. And look what happens here. The cold air in place, I'm not worried about what type of precipitation falls for Kettleland for this weekend, as we do have snow in our forecast. Temperatures by then probably only in the teens for highs. So that's a system we'll have to watch. That one runs through. You can see how the cold air pours in behind it again. And as we get into that second week of the month, this is January 8th, we'll still have to watch the cold air to our north, because I think we'll have another hit of cold air come down. Did you notice it's trying to squeeze out some moisture in the western South Dakota? So this is Friday, January 10th, as high pressure comes in to help bring in a reinforcing shot of colder air. That's the European model. Okay, the American model system runs through for today. As we get into this weekend, it shows the same thing, trying to show that area of low pressure to our south. Looks like it's eastern, southeastern Oklahoma. Enough to bring in the moisture from the Gulf. Cold enough to support snow here in Kettleland, though the amounts of precipitation right now not looking as heavy as what the European was showing. And I'm not about to venture a guess as to how much snow we can receive for this weekend. Just keep in mind that that is a system that we are watching for. Once this one moves through, the next one will come in for this coming weekend. And again, as temperatures continue to fall. And then as we go through into that second weekend of January, we'll just again watch these hits of colder air that will continue to come in from the north. So here is our temperature trend. Okay, this takes a look at our temperatures compared to the averages. Once we start to see the blues and the purples come in, that is below average air, and you can see that for this coming weekend. Start to get into the purple, that's well below average. And then watch what happens. We're now in the second week of January. Cold air just stays with us. In fact, let me get into that slide and try to, let's see, right in here. This is what I want to show you. You may remember on the European model that on Friday, January 10th, that high pressure was coming in from the north. And look what it's doing right here. Notice all this purple across the Dakotas over toward Illinois, the Ohio Valley, well below average. Brian Carsons was mentioning this morning too that some of these numbers probably come in, what was it, 30 below their averages, Brian? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 30 below their averages. So well, I'd like to label it, well, I don't like to label it, I labeled it as winter is returning, or real winter will come in as we do go into that second week of the month. So here's a look at our outline wintry mix for today. And temperatures will get colder each day this week. That cold and snow in the forecast for this weekend, we'll continue to watch that system. And then just plain cold next week. Well below average temperatures. Keep that in mind. Get prepared for it too as we go January 5th through January 11th. That's your update from the Storm Center. I'm meteorologist Scott Muntz. Enjoy your day.